Hey everyone, welcome back to Bros and Shows. I am your host, Josiah, aka Mauler67, and with me, as always, I got my buddy, I got my pal, I got my brother Austin. Austin, how you doing today?
I'm doing really good.
That's
How about you?
good to hear. I'm living, man. I'm living the best I can. I Trash happens, life happens. What can you do?
Yeah.
I since the last episode on Monday, I went to the chiropractor. I think you know all this stuff. I just haven't talked to you about it. Went to the chiropractor and did my chiropractor appointment and everything, and then on my drive home, a car pulled out in front of me trying to make a left turn into my lane at a two-way stop. My lane was a direct go and hit me in my front right. They did a head-on collision. They hit me right there. First time ever being in an accident. Guy out of the car instantly started walking around being like, what the freak? All this sucks. And the woman didn't say anything to me, but there was like a family who was all nice who came up and they're like, are you okay? Here, and they just start moving things out of the road. And they're like, are you able to move your vehicle? I'm like, my car won't start. And then the cops showed up, writ down all of our information, everything, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm not supposed to assign fault in these situations, but it's pretty obvious she didn't have the right of way, and she drove out without looking and hit you. By evidence of her car being damaged from the front and mine from the side, shows that she went into me versus any other way." And so my insurance is like, yeah, contact her insurance. Like, we'll file a counterclaim against them because this is pretty obvious. Sounds like it was her fault. And then they got in contact with me and they're like, yeah, it's pretty obvious it was her fault. But they said that they only cover about $5,000 with the insurance that she had. She had like the state minimum or whatnot. And so they're like, we're going to send someone out there to look at the car and see if it's a total loss. And they got back with me. They gave me a receipt, and it's like, it's going to be about $5,800 to completely repair everything. So we're going to just total it and consider it a loss and cut you a check effectively. I was like, well, that sucks. That sucks big ones. And so I don't have a car no more. I'm waiting on their insurance to either notify me, talk to me, or send me something. And I'm just living the life without a car, which is mostly ordering food to be delivered and dropped off to me because I can't go to grocery stores as efficiently no more. But luckily enough, we have like Instant Cart and things like that here in Pittsburgh, so I can do all that stuff. And then yesterday I had to get a ride to go to my LARP, which was like the first time in a very long time that I had to do that, which was funny. But no, other than that, man, my life's been okay. Now that it's almost the end of May and we're going into June, me and my one roommate is going to start looking into trying to get our new apartment on lockdown to make sure that we have the ability to move in and have that. We'll see. At this point, we're still like technically 2 months off from when we're going to we would be moving out of this place, or at least would be ending in this place. But I'm trying to get like the month of July, the ability to like rent at both that place and this place, so that way we can just move everything in a slow collective manner and just get everything there as when we can. And that's my thought process. So Austin, yeah, that's been my life, man, and everything that's been going on with me. I ask you what you're doing. I don't know if you have anything to match that energy or that feels, or if you're just kind of surviving.
I'm just really surviving, actually. Like, I'm just so my last day of school for my job was officially on Friday. I have summer break, but I gotta work during the summer, so I start at the Y, not this week, but next week.
Okay.
So I have a whole week off, like just chilling. pretty much like that. And then it was hard. It was hard saying goodbye to like kids that like you have a lot of passion for. Like they're just so fun. Like Lucy is a girl I work with, and her favorite game is Undertale. And so like me and her, you know, connected a lot. And she, you know, I remember like the first time I saw her, you know, she was like, have you ever played Undertale? I was like, yeah, I love Undertale. And she's like, oh my gosh. And she's like, have you ever watched like, I think it was called like Undertale Lore or something like that. And I was like, no, I haven't. She's like, oh, I got to show you it. And then she showed me a little bit of it. And then, you know, she was like, I started doing voices because that's just who I am. Like I do voices. And, you know, she was like, so, if you could do Papyrus's voice, what would you do? And I was like, hello there, would you like some spaghetti? You know, and she was like, oh my gosh, that's so fun. We had so much fun, a blast. And then, you know, constantly, you know, there was kids in that class that, you know, the two teachers, like the teacher and the paraprofessional, and I was the aide for the one kid, they just couldn't connect on the level because they don't know like the stuff like I do, because like I'm hip kind of in a way. I'm hip.
I think you just play games and that's good enough for them.
Yeah, well, it's also like I know like some of that culture. So like, you know, when I'm like, hey, Skibbity Toilet, and they're like, what? You know about Skibbity Toilet? You know.
So what you're telling me is that you have brain rot on your TikTok.
Yes, I can have brain rot. I understand that stuff. So, you know, like the one kid, he collects like really old phones. Like that's his jam. Like he collects so many old phones. So I gave him like a couple of my old phones, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, these are great!" You know, and he has his own YouTube channel, and he has problems like focusing on like doing work. So like, you know, I've been helping him focus on his work by like making he was like, what are the impressions you do like when I first started? And I was like, I see you're playing the cash register again, Squidward. And he's like, oh, that's cool, dude. That's so awesome. So every time I see him, so he has a good day, I'll be like, I see you're walking, Leland. You know, and he'd like laugh. But it's like, really, it was a bittersweet moment because I didn't want to leave. Like, I was like, man, I really love what I do. I'm excited for these kids. Like they want to come back, and they're like, I want you to be my teacher. I was like, stop. I was like,
I want you to be my teacher.
You know, it was a lot of fun. Like the last couple of days we did like bubble. We did a bubble truck. We had the firemen come out and do a water day with the fire hose, which was really cool. And then the last day they all watched the Minecraft movie, and it was so much fun watching it with them because, you know, they know the memes. They're like, chicken jockey, you know. I was just like, yeah, everyone stop. But yeah, it was rough. It was rough for me just to like move on from it. You know, it was like, man, this is always something I've always wanted to do, and I can't do it in the summer. But yeah, overall, that's what I've been doing. I'm just like doing that. And then next week I'll be out in Pennsylvania. Me and my wife are finally going to a theme park that I've always wanted to go to, and that's Knoebels. Yeah.
Oh man, good thing I didn't plan to go to that thing with y'all. Yeah. You know how like that was all set up, because that wasn't happening now.
No way. That's why, like, actually on that Sunday, we're all going to go to Pittsburgh. Like Seth and Aaron and all of us are going to Pittsburgh. We're going to meet you in Pittsburgh. And we're going to have lunch.
Okay.
So, yeah.
If we're meeting downtown, that's easy. I can get downtown to meet you all. If we're meeting anywhere else, you're going to have to give me the address like a good hour or two beforehand, or else I won't be able to make there on time.
Well, no, I'll come pick you up.
Oh, you're like Enterprise. Nice.
Yeah, I'll pick you up.
Yeah.
I'm like Lyft, but without the candy and the creepy driver. You know the driver.
I never get candy. I'm not adorable enough to like get kidnapped or anything good happen to me.
Yeah, lucky.
No, one of the things, like I was talking to the people in my LARP when we were driving back last night, I'm like, just the single day of going to LARP without a car makes me want to get a new car. Like the second I get like the money.
Yeah, because once you have that freedom and then you get it taken away from you, it stinks. You're like, this sucks.
Because you're just used to it. You're so used to like, hey, I need to do this thing. I'm going to get up and go and do it. And whenever I have, like, I understand whenever people don't have a vehicle and they're like, oh, I need to get a vehicle. And I'm like, yeah, you don't need a vehicle. I don't need a vehicle right now. One of the things I was explaining to people that I'm like, me losing the vehicle sucks. but like I'm still able to make it to my work, no issue. I'm able to do everything I need to do, no issue. The thing I lose the ability to is to go home to Ohio at any time I want, or go to my LARP thing on my own, or drive other people. So like, that's funny. That it's funny to me, because there's a side of me that's like, maybe I should get it before we move, so that way I can drive and help move stuff in the car, like in a car. But then there's also a side of me that's like, I saved like $80 not having a car, so I don't have to pay for the parking garage there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, freaking A, you know? And then like with the state of Pennsylvania, I have to do a bunch of other legal stuff. Like I got my license plates from my car, because in Pennsylvania you have to return your license plates. And in Ohio, I guess you don't have to do that. You like buy the license plates in Ohio and then they're there. In Pennsylvania, when you have a registration, you pay for the registration, you keep the license plate, but the second that registration is done, for whatever reason, total or anything like that, you have to return your license plates to the state. And so I have my license plate, and they're like, once it gets released, you can return your license plates and get your title removed. And I'm like, that's cool. And then what that also means is that if I get a new vehicle, I'm going to have to drive around with the temporary license in the window and being like, ooh, that. And then I would also have to be, it sucks because like last year, a little bit like near the end of last year, I completely paid off everything. So I didn't own anything whatsoever. Even though technically I didn't own anything on the car, I had like a small loan that I had prior to something else that I kind of equated to the car almost. Now if I get a car, I'm not going to have enough to get like, I'll have to either get a used car, and even then I don't want to get like a too old of a used car. So I'm probably going to have payments now, which means I'm going to have full coverage because of it being on loan. So what's life, you know? I'll figure that all out whenever I do that. But for now, Austin, we just kind of take one day at a time and pray and hope that our friend Froggy doesn't get murdered in the streets on episode 1. Speaking of Froggy getting killed on episode 1, Austin, what did you think of Daredevil Born Again, the revival series of the Daredevil series on I wanted to say Netflix, but it's Disney Plus.
Yeah. So I have a couple things to say about this. So, you know, like, you know me, I actually made you watch the Daredevil series on this podcast. I was like, hey, you know, we should do Daredevil. It's a good show. Interesting thing about Daredevil. I was super psyched about this. And I will say this, the first episode kind of worried me a lot of the season. You know, it's interesting because the Born Again trilogy, like the whole thing about that, they kind of like played on the Born Again, and they kind of played on like Kevin Smith's like thing with Bullseye, because in the Bullseye comic he kills Karen Page, and then this they killed Foggy. So I was like, oh, okay, so they're trying to just like switch it up, whatever. The first episode, I was a little worried because the fight scene at the beginning of that episode,
like
is
in the
very CGI'd.
Oh,
like heavy CGI'd.
I watched the first episode in my bed with my projector, and it was like turning day at the time. And I just remember watching it and just being like, I can't really tell what's happening here. I know they're fighting, but I don't really see it. So maybe that was for my benefit.
Yeah, it was, because it really worried me, because I was like, why are they doing a fight scene like that? Like this, why is it CGI'd so bad? Because like it was him and Bullseye fighting in the bar. And I was like, oh dude, I hope the series is not like this. But overall, I thought this was okay. Like I'm gonna say it, I'm a huge Daredevil fan, but I was okay with this season. It wasn't anything that like I was really blown away by. There was like at parts, there was like certain highs and lows of this season, but there was a lot more, you know, it was like meh. Like it wasn't like, to me, like, hey. But also what really stinks is a lot of people that were discussing online about it started spoiling things because leaked photos got out of season 2, and I actually got leaked and got ran into season 2, and I was like, oh my gosh, why? Which kind of upsets me. And then they came out a couple days later and they were like, hey, it's already been leaked. We're going to confirm that there is a character that is part of the Daredevil universe that is coming back for season 2. Like, they're coming to season 2. And I was like, yep, well, they had to do that because it got leaked pretty bad. So, and it made me excited for season 2. I'm excited. But the thing is I will say I have some complaints I have to say about this season.
Okay.
But I want to actually know what your thoughts on Daredevil Born Again season 1 was. So
I mean, I liked it. I will say when Froggy got killed, I was actually really upset. Because I like Karen and I like Froggy, right? It's something to me, right? When like a character gets killed off for plot, and I understand that. It's also another thing when a character gets killed off, but I really like the actor. I really like the actor who plays Froggy because I always see him and I remember like Butterfly Effect and like his quality of acting in every series I see him in is really good. And so when he gets killed, I was like, oh, I liked him. I liked him a lot. And I was really excited for him to get like another more acting job and then like a high AAA thing like this, Like, that's what I was really excited about. I'm like, cool, he deserves like more acting credits, And then he just gets killed off, and I was like, son of a monkey gun. I didn't want that.
Well, I don't know. There is rumors. There's conspiracy theories about Foggy's death.
It doesn't matter. Like, I don't like read the comic strips. Mm-hmm. I don't know a lot about the Marvel series, like the comic books, and I understand that some people they'll see things and be like, oh well, it's different in the books, or it's different in this and that, and so conspiracy theories will start. I'm like, I take it face forward for what it is, because if you try to sit here and predict, I tried to do the whole prediction thing back whenever Wanda was a thing, like WandaVision and all that stuff, and it was fun to do, but then whenever things didn't turn out how you thought they were going to turn out, you get kind of disappointed. And you're kind of like, I'm just taking it for what it is now. I'm like, Froggy's dead. Froggy's dead. And everyone is, the Trump parallels is insane, in this season. And what's funny is that they recorded this before he was even president. And how certain things was happening and the whole militia thing started, I was laughing. Mm-hmm. I also the hypocrisy in this series is hilarious to me. Every character is super hypocritical. Daredevil being like, oh, vigilantes, I need to stop. I don't deserve to be a vigilante because my friend got killed. It's like, your friend was part of a hit. It was pretty obvious he was targeted. Whenever you're dealing with someone who's named Bullseye and he kills your friend in the chest with a shotgun, in a gun blast, it was targeted. The fact that it took him until episode 8 to realize that was stupid. I actually thought that was the dumbest thing in the world. I was like, yep. He's called Bullseye and your friend gets shot in the chest. Do you think he was aiming for someone behind him? And I guess that's what he thought. And I'm like, that makes no sense.
Yep. That's one of the things I had to gripe about. I thought that it was just how Matt was conflicted with being Daredevil. I thought was a very stupid thing. I was like, this doesn't make sense to me why he's not. But also, too, is why did it take that long for him to be like, you know what? Whatever. It was great to see him say, fuck it, and then just do it. But the thing is
it doesn't make much sense in the process of things, thinking, because he became Daredevil because essentially what happened to his dad, right? Because his dad was a person who got killed for sticking up for what he believes. Rocky was also an individual. Why does one stop him from being a vigilante and the other one starts him? Like, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
I thought what we were going to get, and I was really excited to, especially after like the White Tiger scene where he gets killed, was that we were going to see the reverse of Daredevil's justice, where every single time that he puts like he gets someone like off the hook and like save someone who was good, the bad guys would then go and extract their own justice on him, and then he had to like gripe and fight with the idea of letting like justice through the courts work against the people because it saves them in the long run, and then he can take out the bad guys and then release them later. But they don't really
Tiger. White Tiger was supposed to be actually a longer character in the show, and they thought the guy that played him did really well, but he died. So the actor died before, like right after that episode. They CGI'd him getting shot.
I didn't know that.
I forget what he died of.
That sucks.
He died in December 24th, 2023.
Wow. I had no idea, because I was like, I felt like what they did with him, I'm like, plot wise, I'm like, that's such a like good Game of Thrones level of like he went through all this stuff dead instantly on the street. And I thought this was going to be like that whole thing. I didn't know that that was the reason why they did that.
He died of cancer.
Dang, man.
Yeah.
Screw cancer, man. That freaking sucks.
Yeah. That's why the second to third episode, if you watch until the end, like the credits, it Hector out. Says, it says in remembrance. Yeah. Because he started looking that way. Like, I knew he was going through cancer treatments because it's like the second Marvel character that we've had die on us. You know, like Chad Boswick had cancer, and then now he had cancer. I didn't know either. I was like, wait, White Tiger is like very prominent in like the Daredevil series. Why are they killing him? And then like someone told me they're like, he died, and I was like, yeah, he died in the show. And he's like, no, the actor died. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
that
makes sense.
Like, oh,
I mean.
And I remember like all these other people when the episode came out, they were like just bashing. They were like, "Why did they kill White Tiger? He's great. His amulet thing and everything, it's great." And then like a lot of people are like, "He died," like the actor did, and they're like, "Oh, that
100%." Like that's kind of what I was going through too. I'm like, it sucks that they did it, but it was a cool concept. And then you're like, "There's that." I'm like, "Oh, I feel weird saying that's a cool concept now." Like. I don't know what to say about that, like that 100% sucks, but
I think that's what changed. I think that's what changed the season, because I really think that after that happened, they rewrote that and was like, why don't we just do a storyline around Frank? That storyline being Frank, where you think, Frank killed him, but deep down it's not Frank that killed him. It was someone that
I love the fact that like the Punisher author came out and said
it's coming again. I've been waiting for this, and I'm so happy that they decided to just do it. They were just like, you know what? You guys like the whole cop thing, and you guys are wearing stickers and you're being stupid.
Well, I love I love the fact that like the author has said like the Punisher is against the cops. Like any cop who does this, they don't understand what the Punisher symbol is about or like what he is. And then they show that with like him looking at a bunch of people like wearing his outfits, and he's just like, you guys are a bunch of idiots. Like you don't know what you're doing. You want to you're completely ruining what it's about and why we do the thing for your own corruption and power. And I just found I'm like, how is it lost on them that bad for them to like side with the Kingpin, thinking that is justice because they think the system is broken? It's like, you realize that instead of siding with a system that, while yes is broken, you're siding with a villain instead of the system that you swore to protect. And that is so like what the freak. And it's sad because that's the truth in our world. Like in the United States, like that is a very common thing, and that just makes me so like, I'm like, man, it's a weird bit of irony when you see something that transpires in your world reflected so properly in like the show itself, and it's crazy to me.
So, did you watch any of the ending credit stuff at the end? Did you watch
Of the last episode?
Yeah,
with Frank like getting out.
So, do you know what's about to happen?
Nope.
Like so Marvel has announced that they are not. So, it's actually moving forward here in a couple months. They are not doing a Punisher season 3.
Okay.
Like, they're not going back on Punisher, but they are doing a special episode like they did with Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas episode. There's going to be a Punisher special episode.
There's a Punisher Christmas episode, Sean?
Yeah.
Will he go and help Santa defeat the bad, evil toy companies?
How they set it up, it looks like it's Frank Castle's Christmas, which is going to be great. It's one of my favorite comics of all time because it's just goofy and it's like just gore fest of blood. And this is, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to say
don't worry about it.
But that's what they have announced. They have announced that they're going to do a special episode with Frank Castle. So yeah, I forgot all about that. Travis told me about that. We were like watching, I forget what we watched. It was like some movie, and he was like, "Yeah, it was good," but I was like, Thunderbolts. It was Thunderbolts. He told me during Thunderbolts, it's like, "Yeah, this happened." And I was like, "Yeah," but it was like whatever they just did in Daredevil, and they just did in Thunderbolts, does not. It's not good. Like I didn't like how they did that, but you'll have to see that when Thunderbolts comes out at the end of this month, if you decide to ever watch it. But yeah, they're gonna do like a special episode with the Punisher about how, like that last episode, that last part of the special credits where he escapes.
Which was the dumbest escape ever. The fact that
stupid.
To be fair, like, these people are also the individuals who kind of worship him to a degree, like this like vigilante justice, and then they're part of the anti-vigilante team, which is anti him, which means they're anti themselves, but they don't realize it. Like, it's hilarious irony for anyone watching it and just being like, yeah, there's idiots out there who think that way. But the fact that he was able to be like, get down on his knee, be like, hey Billy, how you doing? No, you're a good guy. Let me give you a handshake. Snap, 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 snap. Like, it's like, yeah, what did he think? They was just going to give you a handshake and call it a day? Like, that guy, if Frank doesn't kill him, he shouldn't be on the force. Like, if that was a bad guy, he shouldn't be part of the bad guys team. Like, it's just, that guy was super incompetent. He should be behind, like, I don't know, he should have been, like, X's CEO or something like that. Like, he just should not have been like in charge of any actual real like important job.
No.
But no, like outside of that, like I like the story for most aspects of it. I didn't care for the Muse. Because like they tried to set him up as being like this more bigger villain, and then like he gets taken out really quick and kind of like.
So I'm gonna say this. I don't know if they're going to bring him back, because there is a reason why Muse might not be dead. I don't know if they are or not.
Oh, because 3 bullets isn't enough to kill him.
Yes, correct. It isn't.
So stupid.
But here's the thing: is they haven't like said it. So Muse in the comic books did have powers. Muse was one of the best villains for Daredevil because it gave a challenge to Daredevil. Like, it was a real challenge. It was like if Spider-Man had an alternate version of himself that could like fight himself. So Muse's powers in the comics.
Okay, yeah. Please describe, because the Muse in this show made no sense for why he was able to do anything he did.
The gripe. One of the gripes I have is how they did Muse. So Muse in the comic books, he had powers.
Okay.
Like this Muse was like, oh, just this wimpy kid. So Muse has the ability of being super silent and quiet, but also he has the ability of sight and sound, which is like he knows like if someone's sneaking up on him or anything like that. Like, he has like super hearing. He also has super strength, and he also has some other type of thing. I forget what's the last one. Let me just check. But there's like comic books where like Muse fights Daredevil, and he literally just he just wrecks him. So he has superhuman reflexes. He can chuck projectiles just like Bullseye. What is it? He has sensory absorption powers, is his most prominent and dangerous ability. So he can absorb sensory information, making him extremely difficult to detect, even for characters with heightened senses like Daredevil. So Daredevil can't detect him, like his heartbeat or anything like that. He can't track him. Essentially, Muse can make himself nearly undetectable through normal means, including smell, hearing, and radar sense. So he makes him a good villain for Daredevil because Daredevil relies on only that. So like you're like, yeah, that's a good villain. But in this show, they're like, whatever. They kind of didn't like do any of that. They were just like, he's just a normal person that's just psychotically insane. Because in the comic books, he does exactly the same thing. He rips people's body parts off and he paints them everywhere. He's like, the Muse. But in this show, he's not. They don't give him any type of powers at all. And that's why I was kind of like griping about it, because I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't feel like he's urgent. Like he's not like a real threat to Daredevil. Like that's the problem I have. And I feel like they were just like, well, I think we should bring in Muse, but Kingpin is the real villain. And I was like, I get that, but I want I'm tired of just, we're going to ride on Kingpin. I'm cool with Kingpin doing his own storyline where it's like him taking over New York. I'm cool with that. But you could have had Muse as a villain with those powers that would make it a good story back and forth. I feel like this season to me was just like a filler season. Like it didn't feel like it got anything really done. The only thing that we got done was like Kingpin getting in the power placement that he needs to be mayor. That was pretty much all I felt that really happened. I don't know. I think Frank did great. The Frank and the Matt Murdock scene together.
Yeah, where they're really, like fighting really together. Well, I love that. Yeah.
Oh wait, at the end or at like when they're
at the end. Yeah. Okay, I like the fighting scene with cops personally.
So here's the thing. I actually their first interaction that they had together.
Yeah, where he's like kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, but the ending, the last episode of that season, there's something that irks me when it comes to doing action scenes. And it did it for me, and I hate it so much because of a certain director, and I'll name him Zack Snyder. When slow-mo is used to do all that, a lot of slow-mo is used in those scenes. Yeah, it kind of gets me. I don't know. It might be my ADHD. Or something.
Personally,
it takes me out of it.
Personally, I understand what you're saying there. I think we have forgotten just how bad Zack Snyder was with the slow-mo. Because like whenever I watched it, I wasn't getting the issue. I noticed like they had slow-mo going, but I also felt a lot of times that the slow-mo wasn't overused. It was used to like amplify certain things. When I watch Zack Snyder stuff, it's like someone's picking their nose and they slow it down. That's very annoying. I didn't feel it was that bad in this. I think if you rewatch a Zack Snyder film, you would be like, oh yeah, no, he uses it so much worse.
Well, I just think slow-mo when it's overused a lot, like in things, I just don't like it. I'm okay with it like being a little slowed down. I get that, but like when it's like, and I'm just like, we get it. You stabbed him multiple times, and we had to slow it down. Great. But it like lingers on a little bit too long than what I want. So I'm like, it's just my brain. I'm just like, I hate this. But I will say, I was really hesitant about the first episode because of the CGI fight. But the second episode where the cops come in and like Matt beats the shit out of them was amazing. I loved every part of that. I was like, yes. And then when he like shows up and the cop shows up later and he's like, what happened to you? The cop knows that Matt beat the shit out of him.
So but they can't admit because they were doing illegal crap.
Yeah. They're bringing the whole storyline of the cult of Frank Castle, which that's part of the comics way back then, where like, these police officers were like, he's doing God's work. And it's like, no, and he's like, one of the best lines in the comic from Frank Castle is, you can't do what I do because I am who I am, and you are supposed to be someone that isn't supposed to be me.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that they're doing it, because people need to be reminded Frank Castle is not a good guy. Like, he's not good. Like, he does some good things, but Frank Castle murders people and he takes out criminals. So, like, he's not meant to be like, he's an anti-hero. He's not meant to be a hero.
Yeah,
So,
well, the concept is those in power to protect and serve and like have a like the obligation to do it shouldn't be the ones who don't abide by the rules. He isn't part of that. Like, he is not a cop. He has never taken an oath. He is not part of the system. And so he doing it outside of it is just putting him in bad situations. Whenever you can't trust the cops and everything, or like the law to do the right thing the correct way, that just causes issue. And that's what he kind of meant by that more than anything. It's not like, oh, I do me, you do you. It's more of like, you can't do what I do because you will undermine the very thought process and creation of like legal system by doing it. If you're trying to do what I do, you can't have anything to do with that. And then you also accept that what you're doing, you should be killed for. Frank Castle 100% understands that he is and will be killed for what he's doing. And he's doing the stuff that the law people can't do because they're strung up with like red tape and everything. But it shouldn't be the same people putting up the red tape who are also the ones going out and murdering people like Frank Castle and things like that. Like, it's very much a guy at his end of his rope, and the law should never be that way, because then they turn into what they are now in the series, which is like a borderline Gestapo level crap. Yeah, but no, I like the series a lot. I do want to say Frank what's his name, the Kingpin actor, Vincent D'Onofrio, freaking amazing. Love him every time he's playing the Kingpin, dude. He has just the atmosphere to him, which I did feel bad. I really wanted the whole like thing between him and Daredevil to last longer, where it's like, hey, I'm not going to do what I used to do if you don't do what you used to do. And it just was like very quickly, like the Kingpin never, like, he just did what he did differently. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm not killing people no more. I'm now imprisoning them underneath my house because they slept with my wife. It's like, bro, that's not okay still. Like, that's not right. It's like, yeah, but I'm not evil. Like, I'm doing things good for the United States and everything, and for the state of New York. This hole we're going to fill automatically. And it's like, but it needs to be approved by like the different like corporations. Like, well, just consider it approved. It's like, hey bro, that's not how that works. You're entering the states of a dictatorship by you just taking control. That's not, you can do that as a kingpin because you are the boss and only boss. That's not how government, like democracy, democratic things work. And like, that's the big thing, that like people who've only been part of business where they're like the prime and only CEO, I mean, Trump, have issues with like the bureaucracy, and they try so hard to like just replace everyone with people who just say yes to him, so they are just the like de facto person. Like, it was amazing that, like, not to get super political, right, but it's going to be, the Kingpin in this is what like Trump people think of Trump, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the Kingpin in this is like a strong, charismatic person who like has like his back and muscle and knowledge to like counter stuff. That's what a lot of the MAGA people kind of think Trump is, but Trump isn't that. he's much more kind of like a blubbering idiot who fell headfirst into like positions used nothing more than threats and like his family's wealth to like get where he's at. So, all right, well, sorry to go off on that. I was thinking about that in the thing.
It completely is exactly what it is.
Yeah, I did also hate Daredevil's like love interest, the psychiatrist, and how she was like, vigilantes who wear a mask and bad guys who wear a mask are the same. They're just kids like using the mask to like let their bad side take over. And then it's like, hey, you were about to be killed by like a crazy guy, and it's like, and Daredevil saved you. It's like, no, I saved myself. It's like, the hell you did. That's so stupid. Don't say that. Like, when she like sided with Kingpin and be like, I would love to be this, I instantly went like, she deserves to be on the evil team because she's too stupid to like, she doesn't realize, like, she's so caught up into her concept that like anyone who wears a mask is bad, to not actually understand and perceive that like some people wear a mask for different reasons. It's not to allow them to do bad things, it's to allow them to do the things that they need to do without it being affecting the other people that they care about. I don't understand why the Muse wore a mask, just to be scary, I guess. The Muse, like, I hate the Muse. The Muse as a villain in this series sucked. What you told me could have been so much better. It made no sense why he was giving Daredevil so, like, everyone was just like beating on Daredevil this season, and I don't understand. Like that one Irish cop dude, or I say cop, but the Irish dude, he's like beating the crap out of Daredevil, and like, sure, Daredevil will still beat him, but I'm like, how is he even like halfway close to Daredevil's level of like, Daredevil trained with ninjas? Why the freak is he like getting kind of beaten up a little bit by this guy? And then like the Muse comes along, an artist, and he's like doing like punching things, and it's like, did he train with ninjas? No, he did. Why is this a thing? Like, that's my biggest issue I had with the series. It very much felt like Daredevil was getting beaten up by people, and it's like, this would make sense if this was season 1 Daredevil from the first series, but by this point he has trained with the hand and all that stuff. Like, he has learned the ways of all that stuff. All these people should be cupcakes to him. The only person in that whole series who should have gave him any trouble was either the Punisher, because the Punisher doesn't like, he doesn't fight fair. Like, he'll use guns and everything and do things very unethically. And then like the Kingpin, because freaking Kingpin is just a muscle massive monster, and all the like nice kicks and flips that Daredevil does doesn't do much whenever you're punching a concrete block, you know? But like the Muse, if they would have set up that he like trained or something like that, fine, I would accept it. The other Irish dude, if he trained, sure, I accept it. That's fine. No, that makes sense, man. I was so upset with how much Daredevil got freaking beaten up in this series. Like, he wasn't beaten up to the point where he was like, oh, I'm out of the fight. It was always like, I took a lot more hits than I ever should have. Okay, yeah, and that's basically that's my vibes on this. Awesome.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it though. Like, I did enjoy the watch. I didn't feel like it was super fast paced or anything like that. I thought it was paced pretty well. Especially, I realized like a lot of the episodes jumped in different time. Like, one of the episodes was like 40 minutes, the other one was like 53 episodes or something like that. Like, it jumped all over the place. So like, they were not afraid to stretch time necessary if needed, or to trim it up if not needed. So I take that. It's nice. Do you have anything you want to say?
No, it's more of just, I will say one thing. Would you like to know who is coming for season 2? Because they did release it, and they said who is going to be in season 2.
Is it one of the 4 characters that they all team up together?
Yep.
Okay.
The most popular one.
Jessica Jones?
Yes, Kristen Ritter has been confirmed for season 2. So
okay, I mean, that's fine.
With that being said,
I've never watched Jessica Jones, so
What? You never watched Jessica
No,
Jones?
we never watched. We watched Daredevils only. I've never watched
man.
anything else. I watched Jessica Jones, and then I watched Iron Fist, and got really upset with Iron Fist because it was just the show of Arrow, which came out like years before, and just rehashed for it. And I was like,
did.
This sucks.
Oh man. Okay, so here's the thing. I think I'm gonna make you watch it because your boy is in season 1.
I know David Tennant's in it, and I know that David Tennant is also like, people love the actor, like everything that happens, but like it's very triggering for certain people who've dealt with like abusive and like manipulative stuff, and that's like the number one thing. It's like, we love David Tennant, but after you watch that, you hate that character so much.
You do. It is one of the best. I will say, after Daredevil, they did Jessica Jones, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're just gonna do it. And then Luke Cage came out, and I was like, yeah, Luke Cage is okay. And then Iron Fist came out, and I was like,
Iron Fist was garbage.
Yeah,
I hated Iron Fist so bad.
I forgot who he played in Game of Thrones until I started rewatching Game of Thrones. I was like, oh, it's the guy that's in love with
Renly.
Renly.
Yeah. The brother of the one dude. The one thing I found funny about him though, like that whole thing, because I remember we watched Daredevil, and then when we watched the 3rd season or whatever, apparently that mini series Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever it's called, that they're all part of, the Defenders, the Defenders, takes place between season 2 and season 3. And we didn't watch that, and so you had to tell me what happened in it to explain some of the stuff, and I just kind of like went, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, man. Yeah, I zoned out. Like, I was like, whatever, dude.
Defenders was awful. I'm with you. I
didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. You just told me.
Good.
And I was like, okay.
It's awful. I was glad to tell you everything so you didn't have to watch that awful show. So, but no. So Kristen Ritter is coming back for Jessica Jones. But we'll have to do Jessica Jones. Oh man. Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, so next time I get a pick, I'm gonna do Jessica Jones. Remind me of that. We're gonna do Jessica Jones because I haven't watched Jessica Jones in a long time, and I love the first season. The first season of Jessica Jones.
I 100% will never have to be like coerced into watching anything with David Tennant. Like, you just tell me David Tennant's in it, and I'm like, I'm there. I'm watching it, man. Let's do it. 110%. Like, even if David Tennant's a bad guy, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I'll watch it. I'm surprised I haven't watched like all of Doctor Who of him. I've watched only the 9th season Doctor or whoever that is, like the Doctor before him, and then the second that. No, wait, I don't know. I watched the one where he was there for a single season. He's kind of balding, and I watched him, and then he died, and then he became someone else. He became the other Doctor, and I never continued. Because I'm like, there's too many episodes, man. Like, I can't watch this. Doctor Who is like One Piece to me. Like, it's too much of a hill to climb. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I have the strength. But who knows? Maybe that will change the more I want more of David Tennant stuff. So, all right, Austin. I think that basically covers it for this episode of Daredevil. Born Again. Born Again on Disney Plus, and let's hope they keep it going, because I do very much like Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio. I like the cast is just good. I very much enjoyed a lot of the cast, and also Frank, the guy who plays Frank Castle. I enjoy him too. I think he does great. Yeah, he does great. So, all right, Austin. That will be it. Next week we're going to do Last of Us season 2. The season finale is airing tonight.
Yes, it is.
So we'll be able to watch it and enjoy it for next time where we get to talk about it. I know a little thing about what happened in Last of Us season 2 because I watched it when my friend played it at my house back when the game first came out. And I remember there was a lot of controversy around that when that happened, and I'm wondering if that controversy happened again. But we'll see. We'll figure that out. So, all right, Austin, I want to thank you so much for joining me. And I want to thank you all so much for stopping by, and thank you all so much for tuning in.